One day, you wake up and realize something feels wrong. Not dramatic, not catastrophic, just wrong. The alarm goes off. You reach for your phone, you scroll for a few minutes, maybe a few more, then you get up and start another day that feels exactly like the one before it. The same routine, the same thoughts, the same promises you'll change tomorrow. And at some point, without even noticing, you stop feeling excited about your own life. Not because you're lazy, not because you're weak, but because life has a way of slowly pulling people away from themselves, one ordinary day at a time. When people imagine their lives falling apart, they usually picture a dramatic moment, a bankruptcy, a divorce, losing a job, a public failure. But for most people, it happens differently, much quieter. They slowly stop doing the things that once made them feel alive. The gym membership expires. The books stay unopened. The goals get postponed. The dreams become someday. And eventually, they stop asking themselves where they're going. They only focus on getting through the week, then the month, then the year. Until one morning, they look in the mirror and feel like they're staring at a stranger. Maybe you felt that before. You go through the motions. You show up. You work. You pay the bills, you answer messages, you smile when you're supposed to smile. But deep down, something feels disconnected, as if you're living a life you accidentally inherited instead of one you intentionally created. And the worst part, most people stay there, not for days, not for weeks, but for years, because comfort has a strange way of disguising itself as safety. There comes a moment in some people's lives when the silence becomes impossible to ignore. Maybe it happens while sitting alone in a parked car. Maybe it happens at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling. Maybe it happens after another disappointing year passes by. But eventually a question appears, a simple question, one that changes everything. What happened to me? Not what happened to your career. Not what happened to your bank account. What happened to you? The person you were becoming, the person you wanted to be, the person who once believed life could be more. That question hurts, because for the first time, you stop blaming circumstances and start confronting reality. The truth is, most people don't need a new life. They need to reconnect with the one they abandoned, because beneath the distractions, beneath the exhaustion, beneath the disappointment, the person you were meant to become is still there, waiting, not gone, just buried. Buried under years of neglect, years of fear, years of choosing comfort over growth. The mistake people make when trying to rebuild their lives is believing they need a dramatic transformation. They think they need to wake up tomorrow completely different, more disciplined, more confident, more motivated. But that's not how real change works. Real change begins quietly and almost invisibly. A walk around the block, a book instead of another hour of scrolling, 10 minutes of focused effort, a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, one small promise kept, then another and another. At first it feels insignificant because progress rarely announces itself, but something starts happening. You begin keeping your word to yourself again, and that changes everything. Confidence isn't built by thinking differently. It's built by proving to yourself that you can be trusted. Every time you do something you said you would do, a small piece of trust returns. And over time, that trust becomes self-respect. The kind of self-respect no motivational quote can give you. The kind that has to be earned. The journey back to yourself isn't glamorous. Most of it happens in silence. Nobody applauds when you wake up early. Nobody celebrates when you choose discipline over distraction. Nobody sees the nights you spend fighting the urge to quit. But those moments matter because that's where your future is being built. Not in massive breakthroughs, in ordinary decisions repeated consistently. The people we admire often seem extraordinary. But if you look closely, their stories usually begin the same way. They reached a point where continuing the old life became more painful than creating a new one. And then they started. Not perfectly, not confidently, just honestly. There will be setbacks. Days when you lose momentum. Days when old habits return. Days when progress feels invisible. That's normal. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is returning after failure, returning after disappointment, returning after a bad day, returning after life knocks you down. Because the people who transform their lives aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. And one day, without realizing exactly when it happened, you'll notice something. You'll wake up and feel different, not because your life became easier, but because you became stronger. The things that once controlled you no longer have the same power. The excuses feel weaker. The fear feels smaller. The future feels possible again. And for the first time in a long time, you'll recognize yourself. That's what reclaiming your life actually looks like. It's not a single decision. It's 1,000 small decisions, 1,000 moments where you choose growth over comfort, action over avoidance, purpose over distraction. Until one day, the broken version of yourself becomes someone you barely remember. So if your life feels broken right now, if you feel stuck, lost, or disconnected from who you used to be, remember this. You do not need to become someone new. You only need to return to the person you stopped becoming. And that journey can begin today. One decision, one promise, one step at a time. The life you want is not as far away as it feels. It's waiting on the other side of the choices you're avoiding. Take the first step and keep going. Rise beyond limits.